Wow. One more. Let's give it up one more time. Amazing. That was so powerful. So powerful. Before we move on, I want you to turn to the person next to you and share in one sentence. We're going to be super brief. One sentence. What what was inspiring for you with that talk with Carissa? In one sentence. Go ahead. Turn to the person next to you. One sentence. What was powerful for you? What awakened inside of you? What did you remember? What did you receive? What did you remember? What are you going to keep? And then you can switch to the next person if you haven't already. And you can start wrapping up your final thought. Okay, amazing. I have the absolute pleasure of introducing Jemie Sae Koo. It's my absolute honor to introduce our next speaker, Jemie Sae Koo, a visionary leader, ordained minister, and the CEO and founder of Psychable, one of the leading online communities for psychedelic assisted therapy and holistic healing. Jemie is at the forefront of the movement to integrate plant medicines and holistic approaches to healing into mainstream wellness. Wow. She also runs a thriving private practice where she has supported hundreds of individuals struggling with depression, anxiety, trauma, PTSD, addiction, and other mental and physical challenges. Her work is deeply rooted in guiding people back into their bodies to an innate intelligence, addressing the root cause of imbalance through plant medicines, nutrition, environmental awareness, relational healing, and holistic lifestyle choices. In addition, there's more. Jemie serves on the board of Cetus Seminary, a non-denominational church dedicated to spiritual growth and healing through sacred plant medicines. With a passion for intersection of health, consciousness, and financial well-being, she has helped countless individuals transform their relationship with themselves, their loved ones, and money. Beyond her professional achievements, Jemie is also a devoted wife to a fellow entrepreneur and loving mother of a 2-year-old, embodying the balance between leadership, family, and personal growth. Please join me in welcoming Jemie Sae Koo.
Heaven in a world so cold. When hell rains, people turn to letting go. And for them on your knees, I will stitch your cuts that bleed.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. We take small steps together. Hey, I want to take you for a moment back to 2017 with me. You can go to the next slide, please. On the outside, it looked like I had it all together. I was at the peak of my success. I was the youngest executive in boardrooms. I founded and supported 7-figure, 8-figure startups. I was in and around very powerful, influential people. And so on the outside, it looked like I had it all together, that I was successful by societal's metric of success. But on the inside, I was dying. You can go to the next slide, please. I came to this path through my own healing journey. In 2017, I was experiencing all types of mysterious symptoms. Globs, my hair was falling out. I was wake up in the middle of the night in puddles of sweat. I developed brain fog where I couldn't even have a normal conversation. And at that point, I plummeted into the depths of depression, to where I lost all sense of purpose to life. And I didn't see the reason to continue living on anymore. And one thing I was hiding was the fact that I was a high-functioning depressive person. I was depressed ever since I was a child. And at that point, I had spent tens of thousands of dollars seeing all types of Western medical doctors who took a whole bunch of blood tests and ran all these labs, gave me all these medications. I was on all types of antidepressants, SSRIs, every fad diet, supplement, you name it. I did it, and it didn't work for me. Oosh. Before I continue, I just also want to take a moment to honor our ancestors and our indigenous brothers and sisters who were the original stewards of this land. Okay. So I was quickly running out of hope. And I went from being this very extroverted person, going into rooms and recognizing everyone and knowing everyone's names, to complete isolation. I went away from the world. And I've hit rock bottom several times in my life, but this was the bottom of rock bottom for me. And in the depths of hell, in the abyss of hell, out of the blue, I had two people in different parts of my life. Thank you, Hoarded Medicine. I had two people in different parts of my life call me out of the blue. And these are people I highly respect. And in both conversations, they shared with me how plant medicine, specifically ayahuasca, was very transformative for them. Up until that point, I've never heard of this thing. I was the poster girl of the No on Drugs campaign. If I wasn't at school, I was in church. I walked the straight and narrow all my life. And so immediately I was like, what is this? Is this drugs? Right? I thought weed was crack. I mean, I just lumped it all together. And I remember recalling that I saw a documentary on National Geographic featuring war veterans with PTSD that went into the jungles of the Amazon, and they did this thing called ayahuasca. That was my only frame of reference. And I remember just thinking to myself, wow, that is so fringe. That is so out there. One thing I'm so grateful for is that I consider myself spiritual, and I paid attention to signs. And so I prayed. I sat in deep inquiry of why this thing was coming into my field twice in 1 week. And it was that inquiry that led me jumping down the rabbit hole of researching everything I could about ayahuasca, plant medicine, psychedelics. And back in 2017, it was still really out there, you know? I saw things that were very woo-woo, things that were very medicalized. And I just had all of this fear start settling in. Okay. Thank you. And I really had to ask myself what was underneath the fear. And it was the fear of the unknown, and it was the fear of death. And then I really had to ask myself, what is on the other side of fear? What is on the other side of death? And the word freedom came through. And when that came through, it just rang through my body. And 2 days later, I jumped on a flight to Costa Rica, where I sat with ayahuasca for 4 nights. And it lifted me out of my depression for the first time in my life after 3 decades. And not only did it lift me out of my depression, it saved my life. It gave me my sense of purpose back again, which should be deeply devoted and in service to humanity for the highest source. And so from there became a deep path of devotion. Devotion to this space, devotion to this work, a deep study. And I was still feeling my way through the dark of how to really heal from the root cause. And it was a decade of deep study, deep unraveling, really understanding how do we truly heal and thrive in today's modern world. One thing we need to realize is we're no longer living in the world that our parents and our grandparents grew up with. We're living in today's modern world. Next slide, please. This is me after my first ayahuasca ceremony. You can see that smile, that genuine smile coming through. Next slide, please. This path of devotion then led me to getting my master's degree in the field of psychology, focusing on psychedelic assisted therapy, and then also training, apprenticing with various indigenous leaders and communities, and really understanding their ancient wisdom and how we can bring and be a bridge for the two worlds together, the eagle and the condor. So I want to take a moment to zoom out. I want to take a moment to zoom out and see what's really at play here. One of the privilege and honor of being married to a cybersecurity expert that advises nations, governments, corporations, is that you can see a lot more. And I want to share this with you. I really want to help you understand what is really at play here. So if we look to the left side of this image, we start to see that this is a system that we are awakening from, a system of control, a system where our innate biology is being hijacked, where surveillance, digital tracking, and our biology are being mined. It's not science fiction. It's here. It's happening. And we need to really understand what's at play here. And where our food, our air, our media is being engineered. It's being engineered for control. It's not engineered for connection. And where there are systems, empires at play, where it's designed to keep people sick. Because when you are sick, when you are in disease, when you are in a state of illness, it is easier to control, easier to manipulate, easier to influence you. And so instead of treating you as a divine, sovereign being, you are looked to as a product. And in the center of the screen, this is a public document, for example, from Microsoft. It is a patent that has been filed to mine your body's electrical signals and connect it to cryptocurrency. Think about that for a moment, because this is what's happening already in China. People are being controlled. And so, for example, let's land with this example. For example, imagine of government who is mandating you to take a vaccine. And if you do not take that vaccine, you are completely cut off from your bank account. Right? So this is really important for us to just start to pay attention to, because what's really at play is, are you a product to be hijacked? Or are you a sovereign, divine being here to be in the fullest expression of who you truly are, what you came here to do? And on the bottom left is just an image of showing us, well, how does these external factors start to influence our internal terrain? Next slide, please. So this was an image that came through for me as I've been tapping into the frequency of this event. This image came to me in this past week of a tree, of a remembrance that we are not only energetic beings, but we are a direct reflection of nature. So if we take a moment to imagine ourselves as a tree, where the soil is our internal terrain, our feet are the roots, our pelvic is of the trunk, our branches is of our limbs, and from there is where life blossoms. So if we look at a hijacked biology of systemic suppression, starting with that soil and terrain, which is exactly reflective of our microbiomes, our gut, the bacteria, the organisms, right? If that internal terrain is compromised, how? Chemicals, glyphosates, EMF, mold, parasites, fake foods, heavy metals, then that is the terrain that then feeds into the root. And the roots then bring into the trunk chronic stress, disconnection, survival mode, unresolved trauma, then feeds into then what? That life force energy that depletes that life force energy. And when that life force energy depletes, then it branches into coping because it's too much, it's too painful, it's too overwhelming. Systems would like to think that it's our fault. No, it's not your fault. It's the systems at play, right? Then we're playing small. We're self-sabotaging. And then what does that blossom into? Disease, fatigue, unrealized potential, right? And who is the gardener here? Who is the gardener here? The gardener here that makes us forget how sovereign we are. The gardener represents here the corporate interests, the big pharmas, the oligarchies, the global elites. Next slide, please. So let's take a moment to imagine, what does empowered healing look like? What does sovereignty look like, where we are reclaiming our birthright, right? Starting with that soil again, the replenishment of that internal landscape. And that is applied through a methodology that we created called the 12 foundational principles. And we'll get into that in a second here. But that 12 foundational principles then gets pulled up through the roots, right? Into that personal development, giving you the resilience, the purpose, the direction. And so if that's in your trunk, creating that stability, when you have that, then it branches into conscious choices, healthy behaviors, expansion. And from there, when you have that, your life force energy starts to replenish itself, the prana, the chi. Then it blossoms into vitality, to be able to thrive, to be able to flourish, to be able to realize your fullest potential. So healing is not self-indulgent. Healing is an act of rebellion. Resting, relaxing, resourcing your nervous system, that is an act of rebellion. And when we start to heal, when we start to heal the internal terrain, when we start to do our deep inner work to fully integrate, you are the medicine. And by your mere being, you are the medicine, which then ripples out to everyone around you. Right? So this is how powerful you are. This is how divine you are. So this is all about the reclamation of your birthright. Right? Next slide, please. So when we look at the 12 foundational principles of where we want to root into, we start with restful sleep. When you are well rested, when you have good quality sleep, you make clear decisions. You start to notice these nuances. When you start to notice the nuances, you make better decisions. And when you make better decisions, you become more in alignment. And when you're more in alignment, guess what? You are walking your soul path, your purpose. Nutrition. Oh, I can nerd out on this all day long. But I think what I want to leave you with is, there are studies now showing something that we've known for a very long time, that there is a direct correlation between inflammation in the body to anxiety and depression. And what's causing this inflammation? Well, we look at mass-produced foods, right? It's being contaminated with high levels amounts of glyphosate. And in mass supply chain, heavy metals, right? So all of that is putting more toxic burden into our bodies. The next thing is body energy talk therapy. Really, this just speaks to what is the tool in your toolbox that helps you move energy out of your body. We are all energetic beings, so we look at emotions. Emotions is just energy in motion. And so when energy or emotions are left unexpressed, when it's in that stuck state, that is where disease and illness comes from. And so who is our tool in the toolbox? Is it an acupuncturist? Is it a chiropractor? Is it an energy worker? Is it a somatic therapist? Whatever that is for you that resonates for you. Next is clean air and clean water. Governmental studies. This is a governmental studies. It's showing that the U.S., especially in the metropolitan areas, has the highest amounts of PFAS, forever chemicals, heavy metals, parasites. Right? So what are the practical tools and equipment that we need to ensure that we are getting clean water? The water is what replenishes us. We are electrical beings, right? It is what helps us create more energy, right? So getting clean air and clean water. The next is detoxing metals, parasite cleanse, environmental toxins, and chemicals. Oh my goodness. This is one of the most underspoken about topics in the space. And so as we are resourcing hundreds and thousands of individuals, we oftentimes see that this is the biggest game changer for them, because let's just zoom in on parasites for a moment. Whew. Parasites mask all types of disease and symptoms. It masks anxiety, depression, autoimmune issues. It compromises our immune system. And from a spiritual lens, parasites are negative foreign entities who have entered into your bodies without your permission. And the allopathic world would like you to believe that this is a third world issue. Parasites are everywhere. They're in the ground that we walk on, the air that we breathe, the food that we eat, the water that we drink. So what is the goal here? The goal is to clean and cleanse our bodies on a lifestyle basis. The next thing is reducing inflammation. So remember in science class, the cell, our beautiful cells. And in the cell, you have the mitochondria. It's the little engine that fires up the cells. And along the cell walls is your receptors. And the receptors receive the hormones in your body so that your body can function and function properly. But what we're seeing today is that there's blockages between the cell receptors and the hormones. And what is the blockages attribute to? The blockages attribute to the toxins and neurotoxins that are coming by way of our environment, our food, and our water. The next thing speaks to what in our immediate environment are hidden culprits that are creating more toxic load into our body. So we look at everything from the shampoos to the pots that you're cooking with to the deodorant that you're using. All of that matters, right? Because we want to start eliminating all of that toxic burden out of the body so the body can really start to heal itself. Your body has its innate intelligence on how to heal itself. We just have to give it a fighting chance. And so this is also a reclamation that you are the CEO of your body and of your health. So an analogy I like to use is think of a car with the wheel stuck in the mud. And you keep doing all these things and the wheel just keeps spinning. It just keeps spinning and it can't get anywhere. And once you start to remove all of this toxin, all of this toxic burden away, then we're able to unstuck that wheel and the car can go forward. The body can start to heal itself. The next is reducing EMF, electromagnetic frequency, or fields. Studies have shown, what we also have known for a long time, that EMF breaks down the membranes of your cells. It comes by way of your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, and that cordless device that you're putting into your ears that is then blasting frequency that breaks down your brain cells. Yeah, I know. EMF also decreases testosterone in men. It compromises your immune system. And it actually stimulates parasitic activity and growth in your bodies. By the way, parasites can also manipulate behavior. Yeah, that craving you have at night for sugar right before bed, parasites, right? So it also stimulates mold in your environment. And what do parasites love? They love mold, milk, sugar, and chemicals. 70% of American households have one form or more mold in their homes. Next is stress management. And the two things that I'll speak to around that is one, be so incredibly discerning of who you choose to surround yourself with, of which community you choose to be a part of, because we are all energetic beings. What happens when you put one moldy orange with a healthy orange? The healthy orange becomes moldy, right? So this is about sharpening our discernment of who we choose to surround ourselves with, who we choose to give our energies to. And the other aspect that I want to speak to is so important. It's resourcing our nervous system regulation that is critical and foundational to this work. Because when you resource your nervous system, guess what? All of a sudden now you have more capacity to receive more into your life and be able to hold it, right? Next is healthy digestion. So opening up the drainage pathways. We open it up with the goal of moving your bowels at least 2 to 3 times a day in a very easy way. And you can accomplish that also by a beautiful product called oxygenated magnesium. And there is one by Global Healing. The next is optimizing on breathing. Speaking of reclamation, this is the reclamation of our breath. We've never really been taught on how to properly breathe. Oftentimes, we find ourselves in that fight or flight, freeze or fawn state. And what happens then? It's because then you start to shallow breathe. You shallow breathe. And so you're cutting yourself off from that life force energy, that prana and that chi. And so we have a technique that will bring you into a heightened state of expansion, a heightened state of consciousness just by your mere breathing. And we will hopefully have an opportunity to resource you and teach you that today. And on that note, just remember that there is no intermediary between you and that is of the divine and of God or of the highest source, whatever you want to call it. You have that direct connection, and that direct connection starts with your breath. And lastly, optimizing increased energy, right? So looking at ways of how we can increase our vitality. And part of that is also, if you feel called, microdosing in a safe, intentional, spiritually aligned way. Because when we do that, it starts to enable us to tap into the flow, to that which is of the divine. When we come with that intention, because we're made of energy, that is where it comes from. Okay, next slide, please. So I don't need to go too much into microdosing because I'm feeling and sensing that we're in a very psychedelically friendly, inclined environment here. But just some things to note, right? It not only boosts our brain function, it's creating neuroplasticity, right? It's activating the 5-HT2A receptors. It helps us break out of that default mode. Psychedelics is, I would offer, 10% of this work. The 90% is what I just spoke about, the integration work, the practical day-to-day, moment-to-moment decision, conscious decisions that you're doing and applying into your life. And just because you do psychedelics doesn't also make you a good person. I have seen psychedelics bring out even more narcissism out of people when they do not properly ground and really, truly start to integrate. But besides that, microdosing helps support the brain health. It actually helps alleviate neural inflammation. And when you do that in a safe, spiritually intentional way, it starts to optimize on the experience. Next slide, please. Oh, and that chart that you saw on the bottom left was just a study that they did showing that how psilocybin outperforms antidepressants. Okay. Because we want to keep people as safe as possible when they are called to this work, it was really important to us at Psychable to create the safest container for them. And so what we did was we now have a church affiliation that under the Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993 provides protected use of entheogens for sincere spiritual practice. And so you can become a free member of the church, and to get that protected use, then you can make a donation to receive all organic psilocybin and botanicals, because we're looking at making sure that there's no mycotoxins, no chemicals, no heavy metals, even in our medicine. And so we have pairings that address your goals. If your goal is to be calmer, more peace, more harmony, there's a pairing for that. If your goal is to bring up and work on more inner trauma, unresolved trauma, there is one for that called introspection. And the other one is called focus. So if your goal is to be more in flow, more in productivity, more creativity, there's a pairing for that. And that was formulated by a dear sister who is a naturopathic physician and a master herbalist. Next slide, please. So if you are interested in diving deeper into this work and you are feeling called to really learn the foundational principles, we have a free masterclass for you. We have opened it and made it available just for today. So I encourage you to sign up for it. And once you do, you get a link to it and you can access it anytime. We are so passionate about our work and we want to make sure this information gets out to as many, many people as possible. And it's one thing to know, right? It's another thing to apply it into our day-to-day life. Really start to close that cognitive dissonance. Because yes, we're here for the information, but now it's about applying, implementing, bringing it into our daily life. Next slide, please. How much time do I have left? Let's see. Okay, perfect. All right, so I know I've overwhelmed you with a lot of information today, but one thing I'd like to just invite you to think about is, remember the 12 foundational principles in a circle? This is a cyclical thing. It's seasonal, right? And you just start off with one thing, one small step. Put one foot in front of the other. So hone into whatever principle speaks to you and focus in on that. And from there, you start to gain more and more momentum. Okay? So to land with everything today, I'd like to bring us into a beautiful practice with our breath. And this is just to empower you with that self-sufficiency so that you can access this anytime you want and not be dependent on anyone or anything. Breathing helps us physically. It boosts our energy. It helps our emotional expression to move. Spiritually, it's connecting us to our life force energy and to connect us with that of which is the highest. Next slide, please. So here we go. You guys ready? I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you 5 breathing techniques, and I will guide you through it. Belly breathing. Okay, so for this, you're going to open your mouth as wide as possible, like you're in a dental chair. Okay? And it's going to sound like a ventilator. I'm going to demonstrate it for you. In your belly, you want to pretend that your belly is a balloon. And so as you're inhaling, you're inflating that balloon. And as you exhale, you're deflating the balloon. Nice. Okay. Save it. Save it. Save it. I know you can you feel it already? Yeah. Okay. The next is 2-stroke breath. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an inhale from your belly and an inhale from your chest. So it's going to go something like so. Beautiful. Then we're going to do what's called the combined breath, which then brings that belly and that chest inhale together. So it's going to go something like so. You're going to feel your belly and your chest rising together. Then what we're going to do is called toning. So you're going to take a deep inhale and you're going to tone. Beautiful. Whew, I'm already getting hot here. All right, the next thing we're going to do is then hold your breath, and I'm going to lead you into that. We're going to do the toning for maybe 2 or 3 times and then go into the breath hold. You're going to take a deep breath. You're going to inhale, and you can hold that oxygen on the top of the lungs or on the bottom of the lungs. And then you're going to hold your breath, and as if you're diving down deep towards the bottom of the ocean. And like you've never held your breath for that long. Okay? Awesome. Before we start, intention. Let's set an intention. Next slide, please. I invite you to make the intention to whatever feels called to you, but here is a template for you to follow. Make it positive, make it precise, make it so that it's like you're presenting it as if it already has happened or is happening, and feel it, right? And the prompt you can use is the word I am. For example, I am peace, I am love, I am courage, I am divine. So I'd like you to gently close your eyes in this moment. Take a deep breath. In that next inhale, take a deeper breath, drawing that inhale from the bottom of your belly. Imagine a beautiful white luminescent light above your head. When you see that beautiful white luminescent light above your head, begin to bring it through the crown of your head into your heart center. As you bring that beautiful white luminescent light into your heart center, allow it now to grow, to amplify, as if it's spilling out of your body. And take a moment to imagine the best life possible for yourself. What is it that you are calling into your life? As you are seeing visions of people, of nature, smell the air. I invite you to now formulate your intention with the invitation of I am. So it's I am love, feel that love. If it's peace, feel that peace. If it's courage, feel that courage. Keep repeating your intentions back into your heart. Keeping your eyes closed, imagine now an electric blue bubble around you to protect your energetic field. And now we begin with your eyes closed. When you are ready, open up your mouth as if you were in that dental chair. The wider the mouth, the better, and the more oxygen you will take in. You might even want to lay down for this time. You might want to prop yourself at a 45-degree angle. You might want to sit up. All right, ready? In and out. 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 Let's start the music. Keep going in and out. We're going to focus on the belly in this first portion. The belly is the engine that drives. It's the engine that drives life. Your mouth might get dry. You can close your mouth. You can wet it, but open your mouth back up again. I invite you to keep your eyes closed for this experience. I invite you to relax into this experience. There is no efforting. In and out. In and out. You can sync up to the music if you want to. You can do it at a slower pace. In and out. The engine that drives life. So we're here harnessing the life force energy, the prana, the chi. It is safe to breathe. It is safe to be here. It is safe to be in this body. It is safe to receive. Keep your mouth wide open, as wide as possible. The wider you can keep your mouth, the more oxygen that you are breathing into and it's alkalizing the body. Stay with it. Keep your eyes closed. It is safe to breathe. It is safe to be here. It is safe to receive. In and out. In and out. I call now on the I Am Presence to manifest the perfect breathing session. Integration of all suppressions and perfect remembrance of all good. I call upon the I Am Presence, higher self, angelic forces of light, great masters, be here with us. Be here to guide and assist us, to support us on this perfect breathing journey. I thank you that it is all done for the call that compels the answer. Next, we're going to focus on our sexual region. It is secure to be in my sexuality. You might start feeling any sort of activations. Just know that it is all good. Surrender and let go. Surrender to any concerns. You might be wondering if you're doing it correctly. Go back to your breath. Just stay with your breath. Open your mouth wide open. In through your mouth, out through your mouth. Keep it open. Next, we're focusing on our diaphragm. Interestingly, it's our power center. Breathing in and out through your belly. This is about developing a harmonious relationship with our power. In and out. In and out. In and out. You can fold your knees if you want, if it's easier for you. You can bring one hand to your belly to feel that belly. Feel that belly rise and fall in and out. In and out. Stay with it. You've got this. Stay with it. You have this. You've got this. Close your eyes. In and out. In and out. It is safe to breathe. It is safe to be here. It is safe to be on this planet. It is safe to receive. Moving into this two-stroke breath. In belly, in chest, and out. In, out. In, out. In belly, in chest, and out. In, out. If you need to slow down that pace to feel that breath in your chest, please do so. Focus more on that breath. In and out. In, out. You got this. Yes, you got this. Keep your mouth wide open. In, out. In, out. In, out. Stay with your inner journey. In, out. Stay with your breath. Receive. It is safe to be here. It is safe to be on this planet. It is safe to receive. It is safe to breathe. In, out. In, out. Next, focusing on that energy center in your throat. Your truth is valid. Your truth is valuable. Your truth is worthy of expression. In, out. In, out. Moving now to the energy center in your brows, between your brows, accessing that intuition, accessing that intuitive guidance. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. Yes. In, out. It is safe to receive intuition. It is safe to receive my intuitive guidance. In, out. All right. On that next inhale, I want to invite you to tone. So go ahead and take a deep inhale and tone. Take a inhale and tone. Tone. Take a deep breath and hold. Let it When you can no longer turn anymore, take a deep inhale and then hold your breath like you're diving deep down towards the bottom of the ocean. Just diving deep, deep down towards that bottom of the ocean. Hold your breath like you've never held your breath for this long. When you can no longer hold your breath anymore, take another deep breath and hold your breath. I call now on the I am presence to bring us a powerful and clear signal of connection now. And you can no longer hold your breath. Take one more nice deep inhale and hold your breath. You can no longer hold your breath anymore. Just gently inhale and exhale through your nose. In through the nose and out through the nose. Next music, please. I call now on the I am presence. The higher self, angelic forces of light, our great ancestors, our tribal leaders of all nations, our great masters. Bring now whatever other gifts, realizations, guidance, healing, realizations, or awareness that we may need at this time. I thank you that it is all done, for the call compels the answer. Please fade out the music. I invite you to gently start settling back into your bodies. Feeling the ground beneath you, supporting you, wiggling your toes, wiggling your hands. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Take a moment to give gratitude to your breath, give gratitude to what is that you are grateful for. Take a moment to give yourself the love that only you can give to yourself. Take a moment to savor one last delicious deep breath. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes, look around you, look above you, take into your physical reality, your physical environment. Next slide, please. Next slide. Thank you. My beloveds, thank you so much. It has been a privilege, an honor to be of service to you today. If you are feeling called for more support, we are here for you. We are here to help hold your hand, to walk every step with you, one foot in front of another. Thank you for having me here today. It is a true joy. Thank you.